Yes, folks, New Zealand's terrorist threat level is very high indeed for Anzac Day. But for the life of me, I can't figure out who wants to harm us. Who could it be? I just can't figure that one out. Maybe you can.
Good evening. Extra security is being called in for Anzac Day services this year, including the possibility of armed police. It follows the mass shooting in Christchurch, which left 50 people dead. Our terrorism threat level remains at the highest level it's ever been, and police are asking for dawn parades to be centralised to make them easier to secure. Here's Kim Baker-Wilson.
It's one of our most sacred days. But this year, commemorations big and small are set to look and feel very different.
There'll most probably be more security than we are used to in the past, but that's the way New Zealand is at the moment.
There'll be extra precautions, extra security, and perhaps armed police at the sombre services this year.
Walk around Auckland or Wellington or the main other cities, there's a visible police presence, and that's not what we're used to.
It's because our national terrorism threat level is still listed as high after the mosque attacks, the highest it's ever been, less than 3 weeks from Anzac Day. Heightened security fears forced Wellington's Cuba Duper Festival to move indoors, and public gatherings in smaller centres after the mosque attacks were cancelled.
It is different. It's something we never want to see again. But you know, it is what it is. And I guess the police have got to make the judgments they've got to make about keeping people safe.
We
Keeping people safe from whom?
asked police what they'll be doing at places like here at Auckland Museum on Anzac Day. They wouldn't be interviewed. But in a statement, they told us officers will keep a visible...
Police will continue to provide visible presence nationwide. Again, protecting us from whom?
presence across the country, and that police will give advice to councils and RSAs. We also asked if armed police could feature this year, and that isn't being ruled out. Police have told One News it'll be decided case by case. Smaller Anzac services will also be bunched together.
Some of the smaller ones will consolidate, and that helps the police with their ability to provide security.
Yeah, it would do that, but it also makes for a bigger target, doesn't it?
There's no sign yet of our threat level going down. Whether it does falls to the Combined Threat Assessment Group sitting at the SIS. It says the threat level's under constant and regular review, and it could go down or up. It's normally only those travelling overseas who have to worry about security on Anzac Day. Now it's much closer to home.
Yes, folks. Did you notice right through that news segment that they never identified where the terror threat was coming from? They didn't identify who the potential terrorists could be. So let's try and figure that out for ourselves. Now, it can't be Brenton Tarrant. He's in jail. And it can't be some other white nationalist, because I doubt very much white nationalists would want to harm their own people. So who else could be wanting to harm us right now? Who else would want to hurt our veterans or have a grudge against New Zealanders? Maybe it's the Germans or the Japanese, perhaps. But nah, mention the word war and they run a mile. So maybe it's the North Koreans. We went to war there at one point. But nah, there are no North Koreans here. Maybe the Vietnamese, perhaps. We went to war there. But nah, they're more interested in stir-fries than making trouble. So who else could it possibly be? That really troubles me. That baffles me. Let me think. Who else has a grudge against us right now? Oh yes, just maybe, it's a religion of peace that Jacinda Ardern has been telling us about over the past 3 weeks. The peaceful people. But let's not mention them, because that wouldn't be politically correct, would it? And that wouldn't fit in with the left-wing ideology, would it? Yes, folks. From this, it seems quite clear to me that the police and the SIS are not quite telling us everything they know. I think they know of a definite terror threat, or they suspect one, and they're not telling us. They're hiding this from us for political correctness reasons. They're putting political correctness ahead of our safety, and that is just simply not on.